What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be going through my week 8 picks and predictions. I'm going to predict the score as well as the spreads and the over-unders for every single top 25 game this upcoming week. But let's start off with recapping our results from last week. Last week, we went 14-3 overall with predicting the top 25 games, so we didn't do bad. We ended up right above 500 with our spread predictions. We went 9-8. And lastly, I have struggled with the over-under predictions, and I only went 8-9 last week. But overall, I didn't have a bad week last week, and let's get into predicting this week's games. We have a Friday night game between Purdue and number 2 Oregon this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. There's a chance this game could end up being closer than people expect. Oregon is coming off a big and emotional win over Ohio State, then they have to travel across the country to play a Purdue team that found themselves offensively last week. Purdue isn't a great team, but they scored 49 points last week, and they have this game at home. So maybe this is a game Oregon fans have to worry about a little bit, but I do think Oregon will have a big game. Dale Lanning and the Oregon Ducks never struggle against unranked opponents, and they are usually a very consistent team. And even on the road with the tough travel, I think Oregon wins this game big. I think that offense is just too good, and that's going to be a mismatch for that terrible Purdue defense. Purdue has given up 40-plus points to Wisconsin, Notre Dame, and Illinois. And I don't see a way they are able to stop that Oregon offense. So give me Oregon in this game big, 52-16. I like Oregon to cover the spread, and I have the over for this game. The next game is number 13 BYU versus Oklahoma State. This game will be played this Saturday at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm finally starting to give this BYU team the respect they deserve. They have really wreaked havoc in the Big 12, and they are very good at forcing turnovers. And this is going to be a super tough game for Oklahoma State because they turn the ball over a lot. They haven't been able to find a rhythm running the ball, and I don't see Oklahoma State giving BYU a hard time in this game. BYU is excellent at home, definitely in night games, so give me BYU comfortably in this game, 36-15. I think they cover the spread, and I have the under for this game. The next game is Louisville versus number 6 Miami. This game will be played this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Miami has had back-to-back struggling performances against Virginia Tech and Cal, but I'm really not going to overreact to those games. I think Miami has the offense to keep up with any team in the country, and I think they are a very good team. We'll see if the coaching brings them down, but I think this Miami team is too talented, and I like them to win this game coming off a bye week. Louisville is not a bad team, but they haven't been great defensively this year, and I think Miami's offense will find a way to score a lot of points in this game. Having the best quarterback in college football in Cam Ward is big for this Miami team, and I think it leads them to an ACC championship. But I think they beat Louisville in this game 38-28. I think they clean some things up defensively coming off the bye week, and I like them to cover that spread, and I have the over for this game. The next game is number 10 Clemson versus Virginia. This game will be played this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Clemson has just been walking through their competition, and I think it's a matter of time before they get tested. And Virginia is really not a bad team. They lost to Louisville last weekend, but they have wins over Boston College and at Wake Forest and at Coastal Carolina. I think they have solid quarterback play and decent skill position players, and I like them to keep this game somewhat close. I think they'll find a way to score some points against that Clemson defense, but I like Clemson to win this game by 2 scores, 38-24. I have Virginia covering, and I have the over for this game. The next game is number 16 Indiana versus Nebraska. This game will be played this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Believe it or not, this is a crucial game in the Big Ten. Both these teams have pretty easy schedules and could potentially sneak their way into the college football playoff as an 11 or 10 seed. I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm not going to predict that, but watch out for Indiana and Nebraska. Indiana, more specifically, they are already 6-0 and they have an easy schedule ahead of them. And I think having this game at home is going to be big for Indiana. I think they have better offensive talent than Nebraska. Curtis Work has been considered in the Heisman race according to some people. He's just a really good quarterback, and he's been doing his job, and he's been super consistent. And I think Indiana is a much improved team from last year, and I think they can beat Nebraska in this game 31-21. I have Indiana covering the spread, and I have the over for this game. The next game is number 19 Missouri versus Auburn. This game will be played this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Auburn is not a great team, but I think Missouri is overrated as well. Missouri's defense has been questionable without Blake Baker, and they really haven't found any rhythm offensively. Missouri had a good season last year, but they had a lot of one-possession wins and an easy schedule, and I do think they will take a step down from last year. They're already on track because they have a loss, and that was a terrible loss to Texas A&M. I probably won't even rank Missouri this weekend, but Auburn is just not a great team. They have a solid defense, but they can't get any rhythm going offensively. Peyton Thorne is just not a great quarterback, and those receivers are still too young and they have a lot to prove. If Missouri had this game on the road, I'd consider Auburn upsetting them, but Missouri does have this game at home, and I do think Missouri should win this game. Give me Missouri 27-17 in this game. I think they cover, and I have the under for this game. The next game is number 23 Army versus East Carolina. This game will be played this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I think this is one of the better teams Army has played on the schedule yet. East Carolina has been inconsistent, but they have showed some good things this year. They have been solid offensively. They beat UTSA and they beat Old Dominion on the road. They are coming off a bad loss against Charlotte, but I do think they are one of the better teams on Army's schedule so far. So I do think ECU could possibly cover and keep this game close. Army has played UAB, Tulsa, and Temple the last couple of weeks. Those are three very bad teams. They have been blowing out everybody, but I think East Carolina will give them a tougher test. Give me Army in this game 34-24. I do think East Carolina can cover, and I have the over for this game. The next game is number 11 Tennessee versus number 7 Alabama. This game will be played this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And this is another massive matchup for the playoff race in the SEC. The loser of this game will have 2 losses, and their playoff chances are going to go down the hill. Not saying the loser of this game is eliminated, but the loser of this game is going to be in trouble. But personally, I just think Alabama has showed more offensively, and Tennessee's offense has been really struggling in the last couple of weeks. Alabama proved that they can win a big game when they beat Georgia, and I think I could trust Alabama more. Jalen Milroe has been playing like a Heisman contender. I know he had some turnovers last week, but overall he is having a great year. Tennessee has a good run game, but they are just too one-dimensional. Alabama's strength has been their run defense. The only way I see Tennessee beating Alabama in this game is if Nico Imaliava steps up and has a big game passing the ball. But I do think Alabama can win this game on the road. I think they have too much on the line, and I think this is a very talented team. So give me Alabama in this game 28-20. I think they cover the spread, and I have the under for this game. The next game is Georgia Tech hosting number 12 Notre Dame this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Notre Dame looks like they have really found themselves offensively, and that defense is in good hands. They have a very good secondary, and they have been playing very good defensively. But these are the types of games Notre Dame can usually get upset in, and I have had this game circled on their schedule because it will be a difficult road test for them. They have an easy schedule, but there's always a slip-up somewhere, and Notre Dame always finds a way to lose dumb games. But personally, I do think I can trust this Notre Dame team and Riley Leonard's leadership. He's leading Notre Dame in rushing yards right now, and Notre Dame has found their identity on offense, and I do think they will be fine. Georgia Tech is an okay team, but I don't think they will match up against Notre Dame that well. I think Notre Dame gets a big win on the road. Give me Notre Dame in this game 31-22. I think they cover the spread, and I have the over for this game. The next game is number 22 Illinois versus number 24 Michigan. This game will be played this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I honestly think this might be the biggest toss-up game of this weekend. These are two very similar teams. They're ground and pound teams with pretty good defenses. I don't know though, watching Illinois give up that many points to Purdue last week was pretty questionable. But maybe that's the game they needed to get back on track, and they have this game at home. And I really just do not think Michigan is going to be able to handle this game on the road. They don't have a great quarterback, and they have really struggled. I think Illinois can find a way to win this game. I think they have a great coaching staff. So give me Illinois in a lower scoring game, 23-17. Really, the only thing that makes me pick Illinois in this game is the fact that they have this game at home. If Michigan had this game at home, I'd probably pick Michigan. So I think Illinois finds a way to win this game. Give me Illinois 23-17. I think they cover the spread and outright win, and I think the under hits in this game. The next game is number 25 Navy versus Charlotte. We have two teams from the military ranked, and that is pretty awesome to see. This game will be played this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I like Navy to remain undefeated just like Army. I do think that is a high spread, and Charlotte showed something offensively last week. They blew out ECU and scored 55 points. So I do think Navy could potentially be tested in this game. Navy and Army haven't really been tested this season. Outside of that big win Navy had over Memphis, they've been blowing out everybody. I do think Navy will win this game by multiple possessions. I have them winning at 37-21, but I do think Charlotte will cover. And I do have the over for this game. The next game is Mississippi State versus number 14 Texas A&M. This game will be played at a weird start time of 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Mississippi State really showed some promise offensively last week, scoring 30 against Georgia. And they will be hosting Texas A&M in this game. I think Texas A&M is coming off a bye week. So maybe Texas A&M sleeps through this game and Mississippi State finds a way to upset A&M. Mississippi State could potentially upset a team in the SEC this year if they continue to get better, but I don't see them upsetting Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M has a legit defense, and I really like what I saw from them in that game against Missouri. Connor Wigman looked much better at quarterback. I think this is a different Texas A&M team with Mike Elko. I don't know if they will make the playoffs, but they have an easy schedule and they should be in that conversation. And I think they win this game by 2 scores, 31-17. I am taking Mississippi State plus 15 and I have the under for this game. The next game is Arkansas hosting number 8 LSU. This game will be played this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Can Arkansas pull off the upset again against a top 10 team at home? I've really liked what I have seen from this Arkansas team. I think they can compete with just about anybody in the country. Both their losses come by 1 possession, and that's a similarity to previous years because Arkansas always finds a way to lose 1 possession games. It doesn't matter how good or bad they were. But Arkansas showed something when they beat Tennessee. They finally found a way to win a big game, and maybe they have some momentum heading into this game coming off a bye week. But I also think this is a scenario where LSU has been finding themselves. The defense has been stepping up. I think LSU is a legit playoff contender, and they got one of their big games out of the way, and they only have 1 loss on the season. I think LSU can win a close, hard-fought game on the road. Give me LSU in this game 27-21. I think they cover the spread, and I have the under for this game. Now let's move on to the huge top 5 matchup this Saturday between number 1 Texas and number 5 Georgia. This game will be played this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be interesting to see that matchup between Texas's offense and Georgia's defense. But personally, I think Texas has showed more. They did not struggle against Oklahoma or Michigan. Both were pretty tough games. I know Michigan and Oklahoma aren't great teams, but Oklahoma was a rivalry game and Michigan was on the road. Georgia lost to Alabama and they struggled against Mississippi State last week. Texas has this game at home, and I think they have showed more offensively. I honestly think Georgia is having somewhat of a culture problem this year. I'm not saying they can't make the playoffs, but they have a tough path to the playoffs, and I think they lose another tough game to a top team. So give me Texas in this game, 34-27. I have them covering the spread, and I also have the over for this game. I think there will be a lot of points scored in this game. But I personally trust Quinn Ewers' leadership, and I think that offense is going to go off. I think Georgia will find a way back to the playoffs, but I think they lose their second game halfway through the season. The next game is number 9 Iowa State versus UCF. This game will be played this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I think Iowa State actually has the best defense in the Big 12. They've held every single one of their opponents to 21 points or less, and they've held 3 opponents to 7 points or less. Their defense has been extremely dominant. People don't take Iowa seriously because they make jokes about that offense, but Iowa State had a comeback win on the road against Iowa. And I would say that win is actually aging pretty well. I know Iowa State got blown out by Ohio State, but Ohio State is just a very good team. Now last week, Iowa dominated Washington, winning the game 40-16. I think Iowa's offense is improved. Iowa State is my favorite team in the Big 12. I think they are very consistent, and I think they are just an all-around very good team with a lot of veterans. They were top 3 in the country for return in production this year, and I think they remain undefeated with another big win at home. Give me Iowa State in this game, 29-17. I do think UCF covers the spread, and I have the under for this game. The next game is West Virginia versus number 17 Kansas State. West Virginia has just been fighting and fighting and fighting this season. I honestly don't think they're that bad of a team. They have 3 quality losses against Iowa State, Pitt, and Penn State. All of those teams are top 20 teams. And maybe West Virginia is able to upset Kansas State and finally get a big win. I would not be surprised. I do think they will find a way to keep this game close. Kansas State has struggled on the road this season, and West Virginia has pretty good home field advantage. I do think Kansas State is just playing for too much right now, and I do think they will avoid upset alert and get another close win. They almost lost to Colorado last week. I think they almost lose this game as well. But I think Kansas State ends up pulling away late, winning this game 27-24. I have Kansas State -3, and I have the under for this game. And lastly, we have Stanford versus number 21 SMU this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I think SMU is a very sneaky contender in the ACC. If Clemson somehow slips up in the ACC, SMU could sneak their way into the ACC championship game. Not just Clemson, Miami has showed some struggles too. Maybe Miami doesn't end up making the ACC championship game. I think Miami and Clemson is the destination for the ACC championship, but all I'm saying is watch out for SMU. They have been really playing well offensively, scoring a lot of points. Their only loss is to a top 15 BYU team. And if you look back at that loss, that was when SMU couldn't get anything going offensively. Right now, they are rolling offensively. I think SMU is just a very good team. They have a solid defense as well. I think this could be a tough road game for them. Stanford has an okay defense, but I think SMU's offense will find a way to score points in this game. And I don't think the road travel will be too much for SMU. So give me SMU in this game, 37-20. I do think they sneak out a cover in this game, and I have the over for this game. But anyways, that is going to do it for my Week 8 picks and predictions. You guys let me know your predictions down in the comments below. But let me remind you guys to like the video, and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel, because we upload a ton of college football content. And we basically cover everything on this channel, so definitely consider subscribing, and also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.